Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Dugout podcast. This is episode 87 after another enthralling week of Scottish football, you could say, through the Scottish Cup fixtures. Disappointing night in Europe again for Celtic, and then some entertaining league results and outcomes, VAR, all of that stuff. And me and my usual co-host Alexander Cruikshanks will be going through everything from the Scottish Premiership and the other major competitions this week. First of all, Alex, how's yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm not as enthused as I was last week, obviously. Not just because of the Rangers result, but because a lot of the content we're going to be discussing today of the games it's a shame because we're going to be talking about VAR again, and we've got an incredible title race on our hands, more twists after this weekend. Motherwell may be looking more likely to be involved. And yeah, the centre of attention is going to be the referees.
Yeah, and I think that's the centre of attention for a lot of the games we're going to go through today. And it seems like a lot of the time that the referees are sort of shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to being inconsistent on some decisions. Denial of a goal scoring opportunity will be a major topic of today's conversation. We'll quickly touch on, I know they did happen quite a while ago now, but the Scottish Cup games that were rescheduled for the mid of last week. Obviously, there was two, a game at Tannadice and a game at Pittodrie. Dundee United did beat the Spartans 2-1, despite getting an early red card to Yuri Jovu, which personally I thought was really harsh. It looked like a body check. I know his arm's pretty high on Cameron Russell, who made a really excellent run for Spartans. And kind of the Spartans, they put up a good performance and ran United close at Tannadice right until the end. But despite having the man advantage, they fell just short. They've been on a bit of a struggling run, actually, the Spartans, despite beating Alex's local side in the League Two leaders. He's scored 6-0 recently. But yeah, a massive win for Jim Goodwin and building on that really impressive win over Falkirk the game before. And yeah, good goal by Ross Graham. He's third of the season, third in as many games. And then Amar Fatah got the second for United in his first appearance back from suspension after the red he obviously got against Hearts. And then it was Mark Stowe who came off the bench to get what turned out to be a consolation for the Spartans. He's 19th of the season. But now the Terrors will advance and they will be in the quarterfinals against Falkirk at the Falkirk Stadium. What do you think of Jim Goodwin's team's chances in that one, Alex? Despite obviously taking into account the fact that they beat Falkirk the other week, there.
I think the Falkirk are going to beat them. Falkirk were much the better side in their previous meeting. They just the Dundee United got the rub of the green, I think. Obviously, Falkirk need to tighten up at the back and make sure they don't concede the same silly goals. But yeah, I think Falkirk will beat them.
Yeah, I probably tend to agree with that one, especially at home. Although it will be it should be a good quarter final regardless. I think that's the first one on the Friday night, I believe. And then the second game of the midweek in the Scottish Cups was at Pittodrie, two Premiership sides, the Scottish Cup holders, v some teams' favourites to win the whole thing. And Motherwell, Jens Berfalascu made numerous changes to his team as he usually does, but I think some Motherwell fans were unhappy with the lineup going into the game. And one of the key changes was to the goalkeeper. They brought in Matty Connolly, who'd spent the first half of the season on loan at Airdrieonians. He gave the ball away to Dennis Geiger, who I didn't actually realise. I think I must have missed that one, that he had signed on loan from Hoffenheim, which looks like an excellent signing for Aberdeen, nearly 150 appearances for the small town German club. But yeah, when he gave the ball away, Kevin Nisbet forwarded it on to Lyle Cameron, who looked to be heading towards goal before, unfortunately, Oscar Priestman slipped and took out the Rangers loanee. At the first instance of watching this, I thought it was a really harsh red card, but the more I watch it, it has to be a red card. If he slips and doesn't make contact, sorry, with Lyle Cameron, then Lyle Cameron's got an opportunity to score. So unfortunately, for Oscar Priestman, I think it's the right decision. Would you agree with this one?
Yeah, yeah. It is unfortunate for Priestman because you can see there's no sort of ill intent in the challenge, but it's a denial of a goal scoring opportunity takes him out. I think by the letter of the law, although maybe we'll dive into what the law actually is later on. But by the letter of the law, I think it was a red card, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, and obviously that was a terrible start for Motherwell in the game. Just 3 minutes in, I think it was. Aberdeen took advantage of the free kick immediately. Really good finish from Kevin Nisbet. Excellently finding the far bottom corner from the strike. Just his fifth goal of the season. But as we'll get on to, his form seems to be heating up, and maybe he is starting to maybe come onto to Steve Clarke's radar ahead of course, some big selection headaches for that World Cup squad. And then I mentioned him earlier. Dennis Geiger was given his marching orders also, and I would say deservedly so. I thought that was an absolutely terrible tackle on a Lucas Verdinger. I think it was really high boot, nowhere near the ball, and yeah, I think John Beaton came to the right decision after taking a look at the VAR screen. And yeah, sent off in his home debut is unfortunate, but I think the right decision again, Alex.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just double checking this one. I'm refreshing my memory on it. So I'm just trying to fast forward through the highlights and see where it is.
Yeah,
Sorry, this is
it's
great podcasting.
It's a yeah, a I can't really even have any sympathy for this one. It's just a late tackle. Doesn't really need to make it, and I think he unfortunately got the deserving outcome from it.
Oh,
Which
I think I've just seen it. Kind of jumps into him, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah. Doesn't look great. See this angle.
yeah,
Oh yeah. I don't know what he's even doing there. He's just fly kicked him um in the crown jewels, we'll call it. So yeah, no, that's definitely a red card.
yeah. And then I think at that point it got to 10v10, and maybe Motherwell thought they had a chance to get back into the game. And for most of the first half, I think the after the Aberdeen were dismissed or were reduced to 10 men as well, they played the better of the two teams. But right at the start of the second half, they were back down to being a man down when Liam Gordon was caught in possession by the substitute to Yossi Olasanya, who's bearing down on goal from just inside the home team's half. But I think he's way too far out, in my opinion. I think there's two covering defenders there that can narrow the angle. And I know Gordon brings them down. The ball's on the floor. With Olasanya's pace, you could say that he's maybe going to get a shot away, but I think he's just way too far away from the goal for that to be a red card. John Beaton obviously gave a yellow at the time. There wasn't much complaints, I don't think, from anyone of an Aberdeen persuasion, but he was sent to the monitor, John Beaton again, and he chose to follow the advice from his peers and upgrade it to a red card, which I thought was really harsh on Liam Gordon. And
The,
yeah,
the
I think
lines are the lines are getting blurred.
yes,
Uh, I don't understand this. I think that Austin Trusty red card against Hearts set a dangerous precedent because I feel like we've seen a couple like that where it's like on the halfway line. You know that was never. That is never a red card. If it's you and one guy and the guy you like purposefully hauls you down, then maybe. But you know I Liam Gordon doesn't even really. He kind of slips, doesn't he? And then Olasanya trips over him as he's trying to get past him. I mean, I think this is a poor decision, and it's like over policing of you know the game and the rules. It's just ruining it. I think, and the thing is, it's astounding how little they get right. And we're looking after the week, looking back on the weekend as well. It's absolutely astounding how bad the refereeing decisions are. I mean, it's got to, after this past week and the games at the weekend, the cries are coming back to get rid of VAR in Scotland. And I can't argue with a lot of them because, you know, there's, I think VAR, as much as I don't like it, I'm not like, oh yeah, VAR's great. I think it has done more good than harm. But just recently, it's been doing more harm than good. Um, just decision after decision of poor quality. Yeah, and it astounds me. The referees just never seem to learn.
Yeah, it was I thought a really strange decision. I've seen some people backing it up, some former referees backing it up, but I think I'm always one, I've said on this podcast a few times, for try to keep 11 players for each side on the pitch. Obviously, I think the first two are pretty defenceless in that aspect, but he's still got a lot to do. I don't think you can say a player that's just crossed the halfway line. Okay, if there was no Motherwell players goal side, I would understand it, but there's two covering defenders there who can easily narrow the angle. But yeah, they obviously went for red in this occasion, and it probably really hampered Motherwell's chances of getting back into the game at that point. And then Aberdeen went on to get a second goal to secure their place in the quarterfinals. A really good finish from the edge of the box from Mr. Scottish Cup himself. You could say Graham Shinnie, which secured the Dons' passage to the next round and eliminated one of the major favourites and major scalps. In the tournament. I think most teams will be happy to see Motherwell gone, but do you think Aberdeen now travelling to Dunfermline at East End Park in the quarters, they'll hope to book another one of their trips to Hampton? Do you think they could win the Scottish Cup in back-to-back seasons, Alex?
I will maybe because after that result on Wednesday, my initial thought was right now Motherwell are out. Whoever wins out of Rangers and Celtic is going to win the Scottish Cup. But based on Celtic's recent performances, and Rangers obviously performance at the weekend. I mean, well, I might get a bit of flack for this, but I don't think Rangers were actually that bad at the weekend. But I mean, Rangers' sort of ability to drop a poor result here and there, a wee draw. I mean, they have only lost twice this season in the league campaign, and it was both to Hearts. But they do they are a fan of the draw, Rangers. So, I mean, maybe Aberdeen could. I think anyone could at this point. Because I don't know if you agree or not, Ethan. Whoever wins it, Rangers and Celtic, I wouldn't be confident in saying they'll go on to win the Scottish Cup.
No, not at all. I said the other day that I wouldn't be confident, really too confident on Celtic and Rangers going into any fixture, and I think that was proven by the two results of the weekend, as we'll get on to. And I think a lot of the teams, especially in the Premiership, are capable of getting a result against them. Aberdeen, I think I seen the other day, haven't lost a game in 90 minutes in the Scottish Cup since they were beat off Darvel. So yeah, that's quite a crazy stat. But anyway, moving on to more doom and gloom for Scottish football, and it's been doom and gloom pretty much throughout the season, and that's been European football. And I think we've got to I'm going to call it pretty confidently the penultimate match of Scottish football sides in Europe this season. And yeah, Celtic heavily beaten by Stuttgart at home at Celtic Park. The full time score was obviously Celtic 1, Stuttgart 4. Just that I'd say I've seen a few people actually saying that I don't think Celtic were that bad. I thought Celtic were really, really poor and allowed a top German side. Don't get it twisted. A very easy night at Celtic Park, and they didn't really have to get out of second gear. Obviously, I would say handed some goals with poor goalkeeping, but another disappointing night in Europe for the Scottish sides, Alex.
I think disappointment's an understatement. I think you can go with embarrassment.
Yeah.
Absolute embarrassment at home for Celtic to Stuttgart. And you were right, Ethan. to say, to give Stuttgart their credit, they're a good side, really good German side. But you were also correct in saying they didn't look like they got out of second gear the entire night. I mean, Celtic got their goal, and then when Stuttgart got theirs, it was just heads down, I think, and it was just total and utter collapse. I mean, a lack of effort all round, I think. You know, Daisy Maeda is really starting to annoy me. And, I've made it clear on here that I'm a Rangers supporter, right? But I said this to you guys in the chat on Thursday after the game. I, I couldn't, we banter as fans and stuff, but I wasn't even in the chat after the game, like making fun of yous or anything. I was saying I was actually angry at how bad Celtic were. I think that's the point where it gets to. I mean, Daizen Maeda really, really irritating me. He's like a man down. The defending was poor. I mean, Stuttgart scored a terrific goal that was chopped off correctly, marginally for offside. That was a real let off for Celtic. They were getting cut through like a hot knife through butter. It was so easy for the Germans, and it was made even easier that the fact that Celtic's goalkeeper's arms seem to be made out of string cheese. Two of the goals were Kasper Schmeichel's fault. Um, I mean, I'm maybe going to raise more questions about him after the weekend as well. I don't know if I'm just being too harsh because because he's been so poor recently, but definitely in this game, two of the goals were definitely his fault. But that's not to say that he cost Celtic the game. Celtic were going to lose that game, I think, no matter who was in goals, to be totally honest. Stuttgart were just a level above. They were level above in effort, which is, saying something because we're saying they didn't even get out of second gear, but they're still, more effort, more desire. I mean, Angelo Stiller's a cracking player as well. It was a pleasure to watch him sort of dictate the play and do what he does. But yeah, really, really, really poor. I mean, Thiago Thomas's goal was nice, nice play, but I think they were preventable. And Ethan, I think you're correct in your assumption that this will be the penultimate game in Europe for Scottish sides this season because there's no way Celtic can go over to Stuttgart and turn this around. And see, to be honest, if I was Martin O'Neill, I'd go out there and I'd play the B team because you've got a season-defining game coming up on the Sunday. Because if Celtic lose against Rangers on Sunday in the current form that they're in, I think you can count them out of the title race. I don't know if I'm, going out too early again with my big sweeping statements, but yeah, I think Mark. Obviously, you still want to try and win, play for a bit of pride, but give the youngsters a go. Give the guys that you only put in the squad for the homegrown quota a go to go and play in away in Germany. It'll be a great experience for them because there's no way you're winning the tie, and you've got possibly the most important game of your season so far coming up.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think Maranello has got to play a rotated side because there is the European journey is now gone for Celtic, and there's an important matches in both the league and Scottish Cup to come up. Certainly a season defining period for Celtic, and if they were to lose at Ibrox, then I would tend to agree. I don't think there will be a way back for Celtic. Maybe points wise, of course, there could be, but in this Celtic team known for. And Celtic teams in the past known for their mentality, etc. But this would be a massive sort of setback to and hurdle to overcome. So yeah, I
I
think it would.
think I think as well though this Celtic team would require we would require evidence of a mentality shift from this Celtic team because these obviously I think we've seen mentality shifts between managers and we've seen a sort of quick impact when Martin O'Neill came in. But this team throughout the season has shown they're susceptible to a weak mentality to letting themselves, you know, the heads go down and oh, things aren't going our way. I think this group of players this season specifically, they've shown that under Nancy, they've now shown it under Martin O'Neill. Can't really think back too far to Brendan Rodgers, but I'm sure maybe when they dropped points, there was a maybe a question over mentality under Brendan as well in this
Certainly
season.
was.
So I think we would need to see evidence of a mentality shift within the squad if they were to maybe if it was a Celtic team of maybe the past couple of years and this was the points deficit, you would maybe think, okay, these guys, they've got the winning mentality. But based off the evidence of this season, I just feel like if they fall further behind, they'll sort of internally they'll chuck it for themselves and they'll go, oh, that's us.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I think this game. We'll not touch on it too much because obviously we've got a very similar game to talk about from the weekend's action. But I think this showed Celtic's failures. This was a failure as a Celtic collective, from board level to the players' level, and I would probably put some responsibility on Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney for this game in isolation. I think they didn't really set the team up well enough. But then again, Celtic, the players didn't cover themselves in any glory at all. And as you said, apart from that late strike from Thomas, which completely takes the tie away from Celtic, the other three goals were very preventable. The second one, even. I think Celtic have got to defend it better. And I'd maybe even ask Kasper Schmeichel to come off his line a little bit and close the angle for Elkanus, who I thought was very impressive and worryingly impressive because obviously Scotland are likely to go up against him when he plays for Morocco in the summer. So, yeah, I really.
It's okay. Scotland are better than Celtic.
Yes, yeah, at the moment, certainly, without doubt. In the past and most of my lifetime, that wasn't the case, but obviously it is now, and at least I've got one thing to look forward to and be excited about. And I think Andy Robertson was pictured at the game, and some I can't remember what outlet it was saying he was doing a scouting mission for Elkanus, but obviously we know Andrew Robertson's allegiances club level. Why he's a Celtic fan, but yeah, really disappointing night for Celtic, and they would have had the opportunity to bounce back at the weekend. But obviously, we'll get on to that. But we'll start with the Saturday games and start at the now. Well, I would say long time. Well, they are long time. I think it's 21 weeks. Hearts have led the Scottish Premiership now, and an excellent weekend all round for the Jambos, Alex.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, when we talk about the results later on, it's worked out perfectly for them. They got the win against Falkirk. I mean, from the highlights, I think it was a fairly evenly poised game. I mean, Hearts didn't blow them away, but they did look better than Falkirk. And yeah, they came away with a 1-0 win. I mean, um, I saw on the comment section of posting about Hearts goal, it was like 2,000 comments from Kazakhstani people and supporters. Because of course, Islam Chesnikov got his first goal in a Jambos jersey. The Kazakhstan revolution has begun. They're all taking over. It's great to see that kind of support. Because you very rarely see, apart from Rangers and Celtic, you very rarely see full comment sections on like SPFL pages and stuff like that. And that there's not usually a lot of interaction, but um, the Kazakhstan fans are bringing that engagement for them. So that's nice to see, and it was a nice finish from him. Good wee toe poke. We've all done that before, playing fives or whatever. Gets the break of the ball, and he tucks it home. But yeah, nice. Just a good 1-0 win for Hearts, and they did their job. And on Sunday, Rangers and Celtic didn't.
Yeah, and this is similar to a game. I think, well, just over maybe around 10 days ago now, just over 10 days ago, approaching probably a fortnight when the Hearts beat Hibs at home, and what wasn't a great game of football, but they got the goal and ultimately took the points, and it seemed like a similar game here from watching the highlights. I think Hearts were better in this game. I will say they looked like they created more chances, but obviously Islam Chestikov gets the goal, a really big goal. You feel for him because I think I haven't been too impressed from what I've seen from him so far, and I don't imagine Hearts fans have probably been either. But Derek McInnes has stuck with his man and got his rewards. So massive win for Hearts. And you look at their run they've got between now and the split. They've got Aberdeen at home, then Kilmarnock away, then Dundee at home, and then Livingston away before they play Motherwell at home, which is obviously going to be the trickiest test you would imagine of those 5 games. But the next 4 games are really winnable when they can pile the pressure really on Rangers and Celtic, who, of course, we know about Celtic's run. I think they obviously need to play Motherwell at home as well in that time. Obviously, Celtic and Rangers play each other twice. Celtic have that extra trip to Pittodrie. So Hearts are in an excellent position, and I know we probably change on this podcast every week. I think, along with everybody else in Scottish football, as to who our favourites are. But if I had to pick a slight favourite of the three at the minute, I'd probably be going right back to Hearts just because they have the points advantage at the minute and they have the fixtures to go with it. Alex is disagreeing with me.
Nah, Rangers are still going to win this league. You heard it here first at the dugout. No, if I'm being sensible, I think Hearts do have the advantage at the moment. They're 4 clear, and yeah, they've got the easiest run and going into the split, and then you know, depending on how the games go, if we go into the split and maybe Celtic have dropped more points if Rangers are their main challengers or whatever. Um, I would say they have the advantage then. Rangers still need to go back to Parkhead. They still need to go to Tynecastle. They need to go. I think they need to go somewhere else as well.
Do they need to go to? No, I don't think they do. I think the rest of I think all three of the other games, if it's Falkirk, Hibs, and Motherwell, I think all three of them Rangers will have at home. I believe.
Oh, interesting. Can only remember one away game at Falkirk.
I think ye. Let me see.
Yeah, because I think we need to play Falkirk
Yeah,
again before
yeah,
the
that's
split.
the. Oh, yeah. You need to go to Falkirk again, but that's the last game before the split, and then you'll play Falkirk at home uh, in the split, providing obviously they secure top six. Which, despite this defeat and a little bit of a difficult run that went on, 2 defeats, the difficult run for Falkirk probably shows the standard they've set for themselves this season. But I think they'll be okay for top six still. I struggle to see any of the teams behind them building enough momentum to really catch up to them. And I thought Hibs would sort of pull away with the really great window they had in January, on top of obviously a really good window in the summer as well. They strengthened well, and I think Hibs will probably be favourites for fifth. And I think Falkirk will maybe they'll not enjoy that because they wanted probably to be in contention for Europe. And if they have a remarkable end to the season, they still will be. But top six would be an excellent achievement for John McGlynn and these players. And there's no real pressure on them because they're not really in a position of chasing anybody or being chased themselves. So yeah, I think Falkirk will do the job to get sixth despite the recent couple of defeats.
Yeah, I agree. And back to my original point then. So Rangers will still need to go to Tynecastle and Parkhead. And if they're still chasing Hearts at that time, that's advantage to the Jambos. And, Motherwell might sneak in there as well if Celtic and Rangers continue to drop points, if maybe Hearts drop points. So it's getting really, really interesting, really exciting. And yeah, I would agree. I'd say Hearts have the slight advantage so far, but it can change week on week. That's what's so exciting about this season. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm as well, and it seems that both ends were getting a wee bit more. Well, Of course, with a three horse title race in Scotland, we're getting more excitement at that end than we could ever have imagined. But even at the bottom of the in the relegation places seems to be getting a little bit more excitement as we'll get onto. But we'll go through the rest of the 3 o'clock Saturday games first. Going to Pittodrie, it was another entertaining game there after the Scottish Cup win. Another red card, which I would say is quite controversial. We'll get onto it, but Aberdeen opened the scoring. I believe it was a Kevin Nisbet goal, although it could have been a Tuyosi Olasanya goal. It was quite difficult to tell. Kevin Nisbet had a shot from inside the area, and John McCracken saved it. Well, attempted to save it. Made a
Well,
complete mess of it, and
not
Olasanya was
McCracken.
there or thereabouts.
He's like, so we're all ripping into Casper Schmeichel, but McCracken's been holding down that title for years. He's been rubbish. McCracken's
Yeah,
prone to a wee mistake like that. Oh my god.
yeah, I know you're not the biggest fan of John McCracken, and I don't think the Dundee fans are at the best of times either. To be quite honest with you, it wasn't a great bit of goalkeeping at all. But Aberdeen took the lead and looked to be continuing on the momentum they picked up from that big win over Motherwell. But then in the final 5 minutes of the first half, Dundee were awarded a penalty when Tony Ugan was fouled by former Bayern Munich defender, of course, Liam Morrison. And, and initially, it was Stephen McLean who awarded the penalty. And I don't know if he gave Liam Morrison a yellow card. I think he might have done. But then he was advised to go and have a second look at it. And when I was watching the highlights, because I hadn't seen who was sent off, I actually thought he was going to look at the monitor to see if it was a penalty because I know he does bring Ugan down, but you could make the case that maybe Tony Ugan initiates the contact by running across him. But no, he was checking to see if this was going to be a red card offence, and the referees came to the conclusion that it was. So Liam Morrison was given his marching orders, and I think that very much switched the momentum of the game in Dundee's favour. Simon Murray converted the penalty expertly to get his third goal in 2 games after a really difficult run for him, and then celebrated by doing the Marcus Rashford celebration in the corner, but a massive goal to get Dundee back into the game. What did you think of the penalty incident, Alex?
Mm, I'm the same as you. I'm thinking, is it even a penalty? Because Ugan just he kind of bodies Morrison, doesn't he? And then throws himself to the ground.
Yeah,
Uh, and the red card decision is, I mean, if he's so sure it's a penalty, then I guess, by default, he kind of has to give him the red card because it doesn't look like, it's not like an attempt to play the ball or anything like that. He's brought it down, but it's just diabolical. Referees. Not the first time I'm going to be scratching my head at this. I've come to the conclusion on a decision later on that I was debating with you last night that we're going to talk about. I've come to the conclusion with what I think it should be, and it won't surprise you, I don't think. But yeah, this one, just disastrous. Not even the worst red card of the day, though. We'll get on to the game later on. That's possibly the worst red card of the entire weekend. Referees are handing out red cards like candy at the moment, and it's absolutely mental. And this one, yeah, definitely not a red card. Is very different from Christian Montagno's later on. Clearly brings down Diamande, denying a goal scoring opportunity. But this one is, yeah. I, I don't. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I don't even think it should have been a penalty.
no,
I just
I
think
agree. I agree with you.
Ugan throws himself into Morrison and then throws himself to the ground. 'Cause. Yeah. Ugan throws himself into Morrison and then throws himself to the ground.
Yeah, Morrison's obviously retreating as the defender, and Ugan gets. I think it was Ugan, okay, you could say in between him and the ball, but Egan never has control of the ball really, and just yeah, obviously smart play from Egan to take advantage of the officials and their tendency to give out red cards at the minute, which seems at an alarming rate. And obviously, this gave Dundee the advantage, and they took immediate advantage, of course, with a penalty. But even after that, they went in front. This one again, kind of difficult to tell who the goal was. I think less difficult than the first one. I think this was a Joel Cotterill goal. I think it's his first for Dundee since signing on loan from Swansea City, if I am correct. Yes, I am. And it was by his former Swansea, uh, not his former, his fellow Swansea City loanee and Cameron Congreve who set it up. Excellent wing play from him again. He's been a really excellent find for Dundee. Same on the other side as Tony Egan, two excellently exciting young wingers in the league. And I think that's why we back Dundee to probably do enough to avoid that relegation playoff place. But yeah, they got the goal and went in ahead at the break, and it looked like it was going to be a long way back for Aberdeen, and it would take a moment of magic, and that's certainly what it was from Kevin Nisbet. An excellent free kick in the 68th minute, in off the bar. You can't have any complaints with John McCracken's goalkeeping for this one, Alex, can you?
Um, I don't know.
Oh no.
I feel like it was a great finish from Kevin Nisbet, a cracking free kick. I don't know if I'm making this up, but I feel like
Yeah, I think you
McCracken.
are making this up.
Let me review this again. It was a great free kick from Kevin Nisbet. Take nothing away. Much better than his one during the week, and his one during the week wasn't bad either. And yeah, he could be finding form.
Yeah, it,
Maybe push himself towards that Scotland squad. Although when you mentioned that earlier, I was saving it till later. I don't care if he bags 50 goals between now and the end of the season. I don't want him anywhere near the Scotland squad. But anyway,
well, that's a ridiculous thing to say, but I do get your point that even if he has it,
I'm just over
no,
exaggerating.
yeah, no, I know you are, but if he does have a good end to the season, then maybe he still won't do enough to get in that squad. But I think that's why we had him in our worst or most underperforming team of the season because we know what Kevin Nisbet's capable of in the Scottish Premiership, and it is stuff like this. An excellent goal from him, I would say. Not much Sean McCracken or Dundee
Yeah,
can
no,
do.
I'm not making this up. It was a laboured dive. He doesn't really get across. Um,
It goes in off the bar though. I know what you're saying.
I
He
don't
looks
think he
like an
would have.
act.
I don't think he would have saved it, but it's still not great goalkeeping.
All right, yeah, okay. I kind of get where you're coming from. He looks like he's diving for the cameras there, even though he's not going to save the ball. But yeah,
Yeah, it's past him and he's doing the dive.
yeah. Pick it out from Kevin Nisbet's what I'd say an excellent goal. But I think we would go on to see an even better goal, which certainly deserved to win this game for Dundee, who absolutely dominated the game. Looking at the statistics, less of the possession, but 23 shots, seven on target, nearly four expected goals created, or three and a half expected goals created, and three goals was what they got. And what an excellent goal this is. Tony Egan involved again, but he doesn't do much of the work. He drifts infield, lays it off for Ethan Hamilton, who scored an excellent goal at Celtic Park, of course, a couple of weeks ago in that Scottish Cup defeat. Dribble dances round a defender, and then with his left foot, unleashes a goal of the season contender, you would have to say. An absolutely perfect strike into the far top corner and off the crossbar. The Aberdeen players stood there and sort of were looking about to say, what are we supposed to do about that? And you've seen some of his teammates' reactions. Simon Murray, in particular, looked amazed at the fact that Hamilton had pulled a strike like that out. But yeah, an excellent goal, deserving to win the game. Would you say, Alex?
Nah, the goalkeeper again, I think. No, I'm kidding. This was a terrific strike from Ethan Hamilton. There's no stopping a strike like that. Pick that out for that one. I think you could say is more appropriate than Kevin Nisbet's laboured effort. But no, absolutely tremendous from Hamilton, and yeah, I think it's clear to see he's got something like that in his locker, and definitely a goal of the season contender, and a massive win for Dundee.
Yeah, only 2 goals this season for him. Hadn't scored since the 23-24 season, but yeah, he seems like he's got an absolute wand of a left foot when it comes to strikes from range. So yeah, an excellent goal from him. Is he in contention for the Scotland squad?
Ethan Hamilton, no.
No, okay. Just double checking. Okay, well, I think that's probably nearly all from that game. For Aberdeen, same again, just inconsistent, and I know the red card's unfortunate, but maybe they have to do more when they've got 10 men to try and get a decent result. And it looked like for large parts of the second half that they were going to get a point, but yeah, difficult run now with back-to-back away games at Tannadice and Tynecastle before they welcome Celtic to Pittodrie. For Dundee, another well, their first win in a while, and one they probably really needed in the Scottish Premiership, especially 5 without a win in the league since they beat their rivals at Tannadice. So big win for Stephen Presley, who I think's doing an excellent job, and I think we touch on this every week, and we've all been surprised at the job he's done, and credit to him because I think what was it he referred to his team as? Was it I can't remember. Was it? Oh, I can't remember the word he used. Was it jobby he used to um, refer this team
I
to
don't
this team
remember.
as? Um, yeah, so I think he's obviously been enjoying proving everybody wrong and allowing his team to prove everybody wrong. I said this was a team that didn't have enough quality for this division, but yeah, I've been proved wrong. Some excellent players in that Dundee team, and I think they can be looking up the league towards maybe finishing top of that bottom six. I think I said last week I fancy Kilmarnock to be in that race as well. Obviously, Dundee United and Aberdeen have games in hand. And one of which they'll play tomorrow night as we're recording this. So, yeah, a big result for Dundee, more disappointment for Aberdeen. Moving on to the last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, it was Dundee's neighbours at Tannadice Dundee United who hosted Kilmarnock. And yeah, this was a game filled with decisions to talk about again. Uh, these ones I would say more probably straightforward and fair. Dundee United awarded a penalty towards the end of the first half. It was Will Ferry that was brought down by
Brad Lyons.
Brad Lyons, yes. His name escaped me for whatever reason. I think it's soft, but it's a penalty. It brings him down. Will Ferry does well to win it. Amar Fata steps up, and then an excellent save from Kela Roos to deny the winger who's picked up form. Obviously, if you're taking the recent game into account, or the recent 2 games into account, because he would go on to get Dundee United's only goal in the second half, and an excellent goal it
What a
was.
finish.
Yeah, an excellent goal it was. Will Ferry involved again. Um, as he was during the week. And yeah, an excellent goal from Amar Fata. And I think Neil McCann took responsibility for this goal because he made a tactical switch during the game. I think it involved Finlay Curtis, and what he told Finlay Curtis to do didn't really work, and it led to Amar Fata finding space to unleash that excellent strike. But Neil McCann said his team bailed him out with the late equaliser, and that's exactly what they did. Marley Watkins, a big goal for him. Obviously, he's not scored in a while, so a massive goal for him. Massive goal for Kelly to keep up their positive momentum and grab a point. And then there was to be a late red card for Jack Thompson, which maybe one of the red cards that maybe one of the few red cards that nobody can have a sort of disagreement with. Would that be fair to say, Alex?
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to get his marching orders. I mean, Amar Fata managed to break through, and people will argue maybe Dominic Thompson was covering, but I don't think I don't think so. And his namesake, although different spellings.
Yeah.
Um, brings down Amar Fata cynically on purpose, denying a clear goal scoring opportunity, in my opinion, taking one for the team, as we would say, and manages to, salvage the point for Kelly, I guess, because Fata might have gone through and scored. So a bit of professional play from Jack Thompson there, taking one for the team. He gets sent off. No arguments from him and no arguments from me.
Yeah, and I think that's one that Neil McCann will be, will not be. Yeah, I think he could be happy with his player in that scenario because that's what it is. He's taken one for the team in order to secure the point for Kilmarnock, which was, you could say, a little bit of a smash and grab. I think Kilmarnock had a penalty claim in the second half, but Dundee United certainly looked like they had more of the chances. Of course, they had the penalty saved as well. But despite that, Amar Fata, apart from penalty taking, which we've learned obviously all the way back to the European tie against Rapid Vienna, that he's not the best at, but he looks like a promising, well, not a
Yeah,
well, a
why
promising
is he,
player because
why
he's
is he
still young.
still on them?
What
Why
is
is he
it?
still on them?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Why
don't
is
know
he
why. I don't know why he's
Saps
still on the penalties.
Saps? But anyway, um, yeah, no, I think a decent point for Kelly in the end. Dundee United, I just feel like they're in limbo. Destined not to be relegated, but destined not to make top six. I just feel like they're in a bit of a dead space at the moment. So there's nothing really exciting to speak about them. Kelly, on the other hand, are fighting for their survival. And I think they could do it. St Mirren are absolutely garbage.
Yes, and I think that's a perfect opportunity to get on to the Saints, who obviously hosted, which I've speculated and not speculated, I've floated the idea in recent weeks, but now I'm going to say it pretty confidently that Motherwell are the best team in Scotland at the minute, and I would like to hear anybody who has a debate for that, Alex.
No, no debate.
Yeah.
um, no debate. I think they are the best team on form, and at the minute they're playing extremely, extremely well, intense. We've spoken about them to death, but they're terrific, and you can't. I don't think you can contain them, and I don't think you can count them out of this title race either.
Yeah, exactly. And we speak about it being an excellent weekend for Hearts, but obviously Motherwell fans they'll feel it's an excellent weekend for them as well. They obviously move closer to Celtic and Rangers. They've got that game in hand to play still. And yeah, they're the team on form at the minute. I know they did obviously lose to in the Scottish Cup, but that was very circumstantial with the red card at the start of the game, which is very
Heavily
unfortunate.
rotated side as well.
Yeah, heavily rotated side, and people are maybe suggesting that Jens Bertholascu was undermining Aberdeen. I don't know if that was maybe the case because we've seen it throughout the season. He loves to rotate his team. He feels he's got a really strong squad there, and they're proving it on the pitch with performances like this. And the biggest margin of victory for any team in the Scottish Premiership this season, which probably shows how competitive the league's been as a whole. Usually, in seasons gone by, you would get a Celtic or Rangers winning by 7 or 8, but it's just not been the case this season. And Motherwell were absolutely excellent. And yeah, Jens Bertholascu after the game said that this was the sort of performance where everything came together and we were really efficient in front of goal. On top of getting another clean sheet as one of the best defences, the best defence in the league, I would say, and one of the best defensive records across Europe. There's not many teams who've conceded less goals
I
than
think they I think they might
Motherwell.
have the best defensive record in among the first divisions in Europe.
That they certainly have one of them. Actually funny you say that because I was just looking across the leagues. Scotland's ranked at the minute in terms of UEFA coefficient leagues in 18th. I think we might be moving down that pecking order soon. And going from the Scottish League up, there is some team. Motherwell have obviously conceded 80 goals in 27 games. Some teams that have conceded less goals but all of these teams, most of these teams have played less games. Ammonia and Nicosia and Cyprus, of course, 16 goals conceded, but they've only played 23. Wisła and Poland have conceded the same, 18 and 22. AEK Athens, Olympiacos and PAOK have all got absolutely excellent records. 13, 10 and 14 they've all only conceded the Greek title challengers. But even 14 and 21 games from PAOK is the same sort of goal per game ratio as Motherwell. Slavia Prague 18 and 23, Galatasaray 17 and 23, Göztepe in Turkey also 16 and 23, Union Saint Gilloise 15 and 26. The Portuguese sides, which we've already discovered this season, probably blow Motherwell out the water in this aspect. Porto especially still ridiculously impressive, 7 goals in 23 games. But even Sporting CP and Benfica, 12 and 13 goals conceded for those two teams in 23 games. And then from the major leagues, Roma have 16 goals in 26 games. But I seen the graphic earlier, which the SPFL posted a defence to match Europe's best. Motherwell have conceded fewer league goals than some of the continent's elite clubs, and as Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid all there is conceding more goals than Motherwell, who have been absolutely excellent on both on and off the ball this season. And that's the thing usually with teams that try to play an expansive style of football. There's always people that will say, oh, well, they're giving the ball away a lot and they're conceding a lot of cheap goals, but certainly not the case for Motherwell, is it?
No, absolutely not. They're a complete footballing outfit. And do you know what I'll be intrigued to see? Even if they don't win the league this season, if they manage to hold on to Jens, we might have a four-way fight right from the start of the next season, because I'm sure he'll bring in more guys and build, and it could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's a but you do include a very big if in that if Jens Berfalasco does stay at Motherwell, obviously there's going to be clubs sort of looking at him, especially in Scotland. There's obviously been big rumours recently of him being tipped for possibly to be the next Celtic manager, which a lot of people would have turned their nose up at him a few months ago. But I think people are coming to realise that Motherwell are an excellent footballing outfit, and I really can't have any arguments for any other team to be better than them in the league at the minute. The only way that the only thing that they need to improve on is capitalising on the performances against the top three and actually beating them, because a lot of the occasions they've played this season against Rangers in particular, they've played well but not got the result, as in the 3 points. Same against Hearts as well, and you could say certainly against Celtic in the game at Celtic Park, but they've obviously still got to play Celtic twice, Hearts twice. That's 6 points they could take off both of them. Very ambitious thinking, I know. They've got to play Rangers once as well. So, yeah, I think that there's still a chance for Motherwell, and of course they're four favourites, but I would love them just to continue on this momentum uh, and close the gap, because I think they're well capable of inviting
Yeah.
themselves into this title race, despite they had the start they had to the season. But you think of the start Rangers had to the start of this Premiership season as well, with the amount of games they drew, and they're of course right in the middle of this title race now. So there's no reason why they can't do it. I'll go through the goals quickly. Eli Just opened the scoring in the 14th minute. A really nice finish from him. Well worked goal from Motherwell, as you would expect. And then in the half an hour mark, Tawanda Masmanise won the penalty after being brought down by Shamal George, and he took it himself. I think despite Motherwell's wins recently, he's been frustrated that he's not been in the goals as much, but he did find the back of the net on this occasion to go the outright top scorer in the Scottish Premiership, of course, before someone else would level him up on that front. In the second half, they got a third goal within the opening 5 minutes. Ibrahim Said tripled Motherwell's scoring, made it 3-0. Another assist from Callum Slattery, who was excellent in the game. I think he got man of the match on FotMob. Yeah, he did 9.5 rating, which is absolutely excellent. And then in the 52nd minute, we see another absolutely shambolic red card, I'm going to say.
This is the worst one of the weekend. This
Yeah,
is the worst one of the weekend. Absolutely mental that Richard King's been sent off for this. Embarrassing from Elliot Watt as well, the way he's gone down. Absolutely embarrassing. I mean, what does he get sent off for? Intent to do violent conduct or something? Like, what the heck? This is absolutely mental. So Elliot Watt's just, basically got him in an armbar, and Richard King's trying to like shove him off, and then he's like, go away kind of thing. And then he gets sent off. Doesn't even touch him. Elliot Watt's lying down holding his face like a big Wayne. Absolutely embarrassing from VAR, embarrassing from Watt. And yeah, if I was Richard King, I'd be absolutely fuming. This was a shocking decision. The worst one of the entire weekend. Never a red card.
yeah, I agree with you. I think it is a terrible decision. The you could say the violent is violent conduct because of the intent to possibly whatever you want, whatever phrase or words you want to use. Strike attempts to strike Elliot Watt on the arm, I think. But come on, this is not a red card. This is just they're just giving out too many red cards at this rate, and for things that just aren't a
You,
red card.
you had one. You take one. You as well. Oh, don't worry, mate. I've not forgot about you. It's just, it's embarrassing.
Similar to a game one we'll speak about on the Sunday. I think the one on Sunday possibly more of a red card than this, but obviously not a great evening for St Mirren already. 3-0 down at the start of the second half, now down to 10 men, and it wasn't going to get any easier. Emmanuel Longello got on the score sheet with a nice finish, which was initially ruled offside, but was overturned, and the fourth goal was awarded. Another assist for Callum Slattery, his third of the not the afternoon, sorry, the evening. And then it was Efior Martin Bjorgolfsson who got the fifth, the substitute, 4 minutes after coming off the bench. Tom Sparrow, the other substitute, in fact, set him up, and yeah, they looked like Motherwell could go on to score even more goals, but they stopped at 5, fortunately for St Mirren, and their goal difference. But yeah, more really concerning performances for St Mirren. I think we tipped a few weeks ago as our favourites to go into that relegation playoff spot, and I think results and performances like this point to why. Uh, you
Do you know
really,
what
really
I find quite interesting? Sorry, before we delve into St Mirren, you spoke about Callum Slattery's rating 9.5. I'm assuming you saw who got the second highest rating for Motherwell.
uh,
Callum
was it?
Moore.
Oh yeah, 5 saves. Yeah, that is a bit of a strange one. Well, that shows why he's the starting goalkeeper. Obviously, Connolly made the error for the first goal of the weekend, despite it not the weekend, the midweek, despite it not really being his fault. The red card to Oscar Priestman took place, and then yeah, Ward comes in, and I don't think we had any Motherwell defenders in our mid team of the season, and I was really annoyed at the fact I couldn't fit them in as any of the individuals really stood out to me. But I think when we're looking at our team of the season, we're certainly going to have to put a few of them in there. And I just looking at
That's
that.
just going to be front to back Rangers, my team of the season.
As it, no surprises there. But not watching this game on the high. I didn't watch the game in full, but watching the highlights, you just see how sort of influential in this Motherwell team Eli just really is. He just seems to be involved in absolutely every attack that Motherwell go on, and I know he didn't get the headlines like Callum Slattery did with the 3 assists, but another excellent performance from him. I think Andy Halliday, obviously his teammate who hasn't played almost at all, if at all, this season for Motherwell, tips him for the Player of the Season award, which is excellent praise for him, but probably deserved based on how him and his team have played this season. On to the two games on Sunday, two massive games, both on at 3 o'clock at the same time, both filled with drama, controversial decisions, red cards, penalty decisions or no decisions. And I think we'll start at Celtic Park as the maybe the less controversy filled game of the two. But yeah, obviously, Hibs went to Celtic Park and won for the first time in over 20 years, I believe. So, an excellent result for Hibs, an excellent result for their good old friends from Edinburgh, Hearts. But they won't have been thinking of that in the ground, I don't think. And yeah, an excellent away day for the Hibs fans. Hibs away, I like it and all that stuff. But another terrible performance and result for Celtic. And will they be able to bounce back from this? Well, it's not the easiest games up next to do that. Obviously, 4 away games on the bounce. And then after that, they welcome the best team in Scotland, as I've said, Motherwell to Celtic Park. So really, really difficult run for Celtic. We've spoke about it already, season defining. We'll go through the goals in this game. First of all, Hibs opened the scoring in the first half after Celtic had most of the ball in play without creating too many clear-cut chances. There was a little turnover in the middle of the pitch. Celtic thought they had won the ball back, but Hibs had it back. Cal McGregor committed. And made a late foul on Miguel. It was this. Yes, this was the first goal. He made a late tackle on Miguel Chaiwa, which allowed Martin Boyle down the left channel. He played it back to Nicky Cadden, who was unmarked and unleashed what I would call a world class ball into the box for his former wing back Felix Pashlack to header in for his first goal since signing for Hibs. An excellent goal for Hibs. Maybe not deserved on
You
the
mean
balance of play, but
for his, what do you mean for his former wing back?
for our fellow wing back. I've done that twice. Why did I use the word former instead of the word fellow? Thank you for correcting me. Fellow wing back, I meant.
I'm so confused there. Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, yeah, fellow wing back. But yeah, an excellent goal from Hibs' point of view. Celtic poor, you would say, in that first half, and you wondered whether they were going to be able to fight back. They did get an equaliser. Uh, Crafted by their top assister and the league's top assister and their top goal scorer and the league's top goal scorer, Kieran Tierney, swung in the cross from the left hand side. And after Thomas Chivanchara occupied one of the central defenders, Benjamin Nigren beat the rest to the ball and headed home from close range to get Celtic back in it right before half time. An excellent time to score, but it wouldn't prove to come to anything as Celtic struggled for a lot of the second half, and the biggest cheers in the ground were to celebrate what was going on elsewhere, as Livingston obviously went on to double their lead, surprisingly, at home to Rangers, as we'll get on to. But then, when Celtic were maybe in the ascendancy of getting a winning goal, they were shown a red card to Austin Trusty, and I think you can't really have many complaints. I can see why this is a red card. Don't really want it to be a red card, but at the same time, he does swing his arm very aggressively towards Jamie McGrath. And yeah, like Elliot, what you said earlier, I think Jamie McGrath makes the most of it, but I can see why they
Yeah.
came to the decision to give a red card. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Austin Trusty might be on the phone to Dana White. Big hammer fist from the big American on the arm of Jamie McGrath. Yeah, McGrath definitely makes a meal of it. It's a bit embarrassing from him, just like Elliot Watt was embarrassed. Elliot Watt even more embarrassing because he didn't get touched. But yeah, McGrath was embarrassing as well with his reaction. But I think this definitely was a red card. Unfortunately, you can't. I mean, I think the difference is King. I don't know if King was actually trying to hit Watt or if he was just, like flailing his arms about, like just get away from me type of thing. Trusty just punches, just punches Jamie McGrath's arm. and I know players scuffle in the box all the time, but yeah, a complete head loss from him,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
now I believe he could miss up to 3 games because of violent conduct. So a huge hammer blow for Celtic. That was unintentional there. For Celtic in this difficult run in. Could potentially be missing for both the Old Firm games, as well as obviously they're definitely going to be missing for. I mean, I think it's minimum 2 games for violent conduct. It can be 3. He's definitely going to be missing for the first Old Firm and the Aberdeen away fixture. And it's going to be a big couple of games for young Benjamin Arthur stepping into the side to try and fill the boots. The Brentford Van Dyke, as he's been talked up as. But yeah, it's going to be big for him. And Austin Trusty. Yeah, just complete head loss from him.
yeah, exactly that. I haven't seen the Brentford Van Dyke sort of comments going about, but obviously that if that has been said, that's very high praise. He did come on and he looked okay when he obviously had to come on as Celtic had to bring another central defender on, and I said at the game that Celtic would be lucky, I think, to come away from the game with a point, but they may have a big case in wanting a penalty from another corner. I think it was actually just the corner that was immediately after the red card. Liam Scales made a run for the ball and seemed to be brought down by a Hibs defender. There was a VAR check in the ground that said the penalty wasn't given because the foul was outside the area. I think that was the wrong message they had flashed up on the boards around Celtic Park. But looking at the replays after getting home from the game, it certainly looked like a penalty to me.
Yeah, I can see the case for the penalty here, but I don't know if it's difficult. I think for I don't know if I'm just being biased here, if this is my bias coming through, but I think they both have like a hold of each other. Scales does pull away. I think it was Iredale he was wrestling with. He does pull away and maybe looks like he gets the run on him and is then brought down. But I think maybe Scales' downfall, the fact it wasn't given is because in the just before the ball gets played in, Scales gets the run off. They both have, you know, a fistful of each other. But no, I think definitely a case could be made for a penalty to Celtic here. Um, I think it's maybe I don't. I'm always a bit wary when I'm talking about decisions in Celtic games because it might just be me seen as the bitter Rangers fan trying to sway everything in the other direction. I don't know if I'm sounding mad here, Ethan, or if you understand what I'm saying. I
No,
don't think it's as
I
I
understand what you're saying. I
don't
understand
think
what
it's
you're saying.
as clear cut as everyone's making it out to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I think it's as much as a penalty as it's as much as a red card, if you want to put it that way. I don't want it to be a red card, and maybe I don't want that to be a penalty, but unfortunately, as we've seen, the rules that and the sort of stipulations and the rules that the SFA have set this season, I think you could have seen that being given as a penalty, and maybe Hibs got off the hook on that occasion. But obviously, Hibs would go on to get the winner ultimately in the final minutes of normal time. It was the substitutions who combined. They took both strikers off, Martin Boyle and Owen Elding, who I thought Owen Elding looked really promising for a young player. I know obviously he's already opened his account for Hibs, but I thought he looked really sharp in the game. And they took him off. They took both strikers off for Ante Schutel and Dane Scarlett. So it shows the strength and depth I think Hibs have in that position. And after an unfortunate ricochet in the middle of the park from a Celtic point of view, it led to Hibs being on the attack. They He worked it about, some poor defending from Celtic, I would say, and Ante Suto probably should have got a shot away from himself, but couldn't adjust his feet and laid it off for Kai Andrews, another January signing to find the back of the net from the edge of the box. Another goal conceded from the edge of the box from a Celtic point of view, and I think
Can
Alex
I,
has some problems with the goalkeeping yet again.
can I jump in here? I know it's a good effort from Kai Andrews, but it's not as if it's a thunderbolt. And Schmeichel's doing his usual weird wide-legged stance and going like this, like throwing his arms up in the air, going, "Oh, again." But you've got to at least make an effort for that. Come on. And Kasper Schmeichel, he's gone down in my estimation, I think, because if the rumours are true and his shoulder's completely done in and he's taking injections to keep playing because he maybe wants to try and play in the World Cup with Denmark if they make it. I don't think if I was the Denmark coach, I wouldn't be starting him. But it's selfish, I think. If he's continuing to say he's fine, he can do it, and if because it's clearly not the case, and he's lost a step in terms of his reflexes. He's that shot was to his left side. Maybe that's why he doesn't dive for it. He can't get down in time. I saw a compilation the other day, and it must have been 10 goals. It was by a Celtic fan that put it up. Must have been 10 goals that it seems like Kasper Schmeichel is directly responsible for this season. I'm not saying this one he's directly responsible for, but he should have at least made an effort. And that's so, like, 10 goals is massive. And he's been so poor. And I don't understand. We've been joking about this for weeks and stuff, but this is a genuine question. How bad is Sinisalo? Or does Kasper Schmeichel have blackmail on Martin O'Neill or something? Like, what is going on? Um, Genuinely, or has he got an agreement in his contract where he needs to play a certain amount of game? Like, cause this is getting ridiculous. Sinisalo must be the worst keeper on planet Earth if he can't get a game over this washed up old man. Kasper Schmeichel was a great goalie throughout his career. Premier League winner, FA Cup winner, made appearances in the Champions League with Celtic and Leicester City. Won promotion with Leicester. He was there for a very, very long time. Um, Started. He was so good that people started actually putting him in conversations with his dad, and that's a credit. But I think he's past his expiration date as a footballer at this level. It's getting sad as well watching such a tremendous player because he was tremendous. He was amazing. Even if we go maybe like back to 2 or 3 years ago, if we think about the Euros in 2021 for Denmark, they made it to the semi final. He was excellent in that campaign as well. But he's turning 40 this year, and he looks done. And maybe I've been a bit harsh. Maybe I've insulted him a little bit here, but which my emotions are maybe getting the better of me. But no, it's sad because I loved Kasper Schmeichel, and to see him like this, some of the saves he pulled off, um, you know, he was an amazing shot stopper, I think, and yeah, and he was never great with his feet, but his redeeming quality. Even thinking back to last season, he was a great goalkeeper. But this season, he's been rubbish with his feet. He's been giving away goals. He can't save shots either. It's so bad. Sorry for that like rant there, but
No, no, I agree with a lot of what the points you made there, and that's the thing because Kasper Schmeichel's been an excellent goalkeeper for a lot of his career in the Premier League, and even the first season at Celtic, I thought at points he was one of the putting in some of the best performances I had seen by a Celtic goalkeeper. But after he sustained that injury on international duty with Denmark, where the sort of shoulder problem had cropped up again, like I believe he dealt with in the past. He's not been the same. Obviously, he made the big error in the Scottish Cup final, and you were willing to sort of, okay, it's a big error, but he's had a really good season. But it started with distribution errors. I think you pointed out, especially at the start of this season, but now it's just full blown. He looks not fit for purpose in between the sticks. And your point about he's standing with a wide leg stance was actually something that was made on BBC Scotland the other day before the match. I think it was Pat Bonner, who obviously former Celtic goalkeeper, was saying that he thinks his legs are he should have his legs more narrow. And obviously he was saying he's not trying to tell Kasper Schmeichel what to do, but that sort of goalkeeping basics that he's lost, and it is strange. Some of the saves he did make the other night were really worrying, and yeah, you do start to beg the question whether there is something in his contract, because you ask the question how bad is Boljani Sinisawa, but I think we've seen him and he's not been special by any means, but he's not been this bad, and surely you need to give him a chance. Some of the reactions from the crowd the other night at Celtic Park was embarrassing. To boo your own player is something that we've spoke about on here. Is something that both of us will never tend to agree with. And yeah, I think maybe some of the booing comes from the fact that they think it's a selfish thing from Kasper Schmeichel, that he's wanting to play to try and have a chance of playing in the World Cup. But as you said, if Denmark were looking at him at the minute, there is no way he's going to be their first choice goalkeeper for even the playoffs when they come up, never mind the World Cup if they were to get there. And yeah, I thought Vuljami Sinisalo should have started this game, but it looks like Kasper Schmeichel's going to hold down that place for the rest of the season, because it
I
doesn't look
said,
like
I said,
he can do it to
I
be
said
dropped.
this in I said this in our group chat last night as well. If he's in sticks next week, if Kasper Schmeichel starts in goals next week, and Danny Roll isn't telling the Rangers team to shoot from everywhere and absolutely anywhere, because Rangers do have that kind of, they do have some quality now in those areas. I mean, obviously not consistent enough, but they've shown even the likes of Tello Asgard can score a decent goal now and again, and his shots from range aren't bad. So, you know, if Rangers get the opportunities, could be a bloodbath for Kasper Schmeichel at Ibrox next week.
Yeah, it really well could be, and this isn't the case of, although mentioned the shoulder injury, it doesn't look like there's one side in particular that he's weaker on, because you've seen the goals the other night, for example. There's one that goes on each side of him that he should save. There's one on his right, there's one on his left. This one, obviously, on his left. So yeah, really, really strange. But a lot of Celtic players underperformed on the day. In the attacking areas, especially, they don't look like they're going to be able to create enough. They created a lot more than Hibs probably across the balance of play, or the balance of the game rather. But Hibs took their chances when they came, and that's what matters. A lot of credit to David Gray and Hibs for a massive win, and yeah, really improves their probably chances at European football now, despite maybe handing the initiative back to their rivals for the title. But I don't think you can worry about those kind of things, and yeah, really concerning from a Celtic point of view. But few Hibs players that I want to highlight in particular, or maybe one in particular that I thought was absolutely excellent, was Miguel Chaiwa. I think he's been an excellent signing from Hibs, and he was the standout for me. I thought he was man of the match for a Hibe's point of view, and for Celtic. I don't know where they go next. I don't know what the strongest team is. I don't think Martin O'Neill knows what the strongest team is. And I think they possibly need to look at maybe changing the formation up a bit, because Thomas Chavanchara seems to be doing all he can up front, but there isn't enough service to him. There's not enough support around him, and they're not creating enough chances for him to score goals. And unfortunately, if you're not creating chances, then your striker isn't going to score goals. So yeah, really big defeat for Celtic in terms of the title race. I think a lot of Celtic fans have now written Celtic off. I don't think that's right. I think there's still going to be twists in this title race, but I would have to say Celtic are third favourites after the weekend, especially although Rangers dropped points, taking their performance into account, I would agree with you. I don't think it was too bad, and I think we'll move on to that game now, unless you've got any final points on this. I know we didn't speak about um, Hibs too much, and maybe we're not giving them enough credit. But yeah, they played really well. They kept the ball well in periods, and much like Celtic from the other night, the press just wasn't good enough off the ball. Absolutely terrible, and Hibs were really comfortable for a lot of the game and took their chances well. So yeah, Hibs are another team like Motherwell. I think people have been saying, "Oh, well, Motherwell will have a big say in this title race." I think you could say the same for Hibs. Picked up points in the last two meetings. No, two of the last three meetings, sorry, against the title contenders. So, yeah, and moving to the other title contender playing on the day was Rangers at Livingston. And I heard people, I think it was Kevin Thompson before the game on BBC, who said this would be the biggest upset of the season if Livingston were to win this game. And it looked for a while like they might, Alex.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They opened the scoring in the 14th minute, and I just want to take a wee moment to appreciate this. I know we've had some crackers this weekend, but this is just I think this is my favourite. The accuracy, the power, just everything about it from Brooklyn Kabongolo. Absolutely terrific finish from him. Jack Butland, it was his near post, but he had no chance. He had absolutely no chance. It was, it was we're talking about Kai Andrews' strike not being a thunderous strike. This was a thunderous strike, a terrific volley from the defender, I believe. So terrific from Kabongolo. He opens the score in the 14th minute. Although what I will say is Jerome Prior was having a game of his life. He made some excellent saves from pretty much every Rangers player. There's one from Miovski, there's one from Moore. There's he's fingertip stuff almost every save he made was a camera save. He's who John McCracken wishes he was. It was absolutely tremendous from Jerome Prior in this game, and his efforts did not go to waste. As in the 56th minute, Livingston doubled their advantage. Lewis Smith. This was poor defending from Rangers off the back of a set piece. They tried to get out to close the ball. They just ignored Lewis Smith. He gets slid in and has the opportunity to finish, and he does really, really well. 2-11, you think, oh, this is going to be a classic upset. Rangers stumbling again. But then the playing field is levelled. I mentioned it earlier in the video. Christian Montano brings down Mo Diamandi, who is bearing down on goal purposefully, mind you. Mo Diamandi didn't throw himself into him and fall over, so, like Tony Yogan did. And yeah, this is a red card for me. Ethan, any complaints on this one?
No, poor defending from Christian Montano, and he gets caught wrong side, and yeah, as you said, yeah, it's a red card. He brings Diamandi down, who's heading towards goal, and yeah, I can't really. I don't think there's any other outcome than what the one the referee came to on this occasion. Obviously, we'll get on to one a lot more interesting with a lot more possible outcomes, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's Montano sent off, and then it's just Rangers, trying to batter down that door, trying to break down the Great Wall of Prior, and eventually they do through Emmanuel Fernandez. And we're talking about Kabongolo's thunderous finish from a defender. This was a thunderous finish from Manny Fernandez. We've seen him score with his head. We've seen him score one with his feet this season, but nothing like this. Absolutely, a bit of a Stramash Barami sort of gets it back to him after everyone's gone in towards the 6 yard area, and he just fires this into the top corner, sort of midway through the 18-yard box, and then Rangers get their equaliser through Mikey Moore, a header from him assisted by James Tavernier, a really nice ball actually, just from that close and that angle to get it straight onto the head of Mikey Moore. Nice header, two each. You're thinking, can Rangers do this? There's 9 minutes of additional time. Around the 93rd, 94th minute, Nadeem Bayrami flicks the ball over back of his head to Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's in on goal and is brought down by the Livingston defender. And you're thinking, oh, is this a penalty? Is this a free kick? Is it a denial of a goal scoring opportunity? A red card? It's none. It's none of them, apparently, according to the referees. It's absolutely none of them. And before I go on go through my reasoning and maybe go on a crazy rant, I'll throw it to Ethan here. Ethan, what do you think the outcome of this decision should be?
Genuinely, I've watched it about 10 times. Genuinely, I don't know what the outcome should be. And that's the sympathy I have for the referees. I know we've been very critical of them, but I think for Rangers not to gain some sort of advantage from this in injury time and the closing minutes of the game is baffling because it's a clear foul by Cammy Kerr on Mikey Moore. Doesn't take any of the ball. Mikey Moore's about to get a shot away. So the question is it in or outside the box? I think the first foul, where he sort of makes contact with his shin, is outside the box. Anything after that is maybe not a foul that they're seeing it as. So I can see maybe that point of view that not to give a penalty. And then I can see why they've said it's not a goal scoring opportunity because there's two defenders there. But at the same time,
Mikey Moore's about to get shot
yeah,
off.
no, I was getting to that. I was getting to that. I think, yeah, he's about to get the shot away. So I think it probably, if I had to pick something in the heat of the moment, I had to make a decision. I would have said nothing and restart from Livingston goal kick. No, I'm only joking. I would have said probably I would have said a free kick and a red card for Cammy Kerr and Livingston reduced to 9 men for the final 3 minutes. I think they played on top of the 9 added, and so 12 minutes added in total. And yeah, fair play to Livingston for surviving that long because at two each, when it went to two each, I thought it was inevitable that Rangers were going to go on to win the game, and maybe it should have been, but um, yeah, a massive talking point, which will probably be a massive talking point between now and the end of the season, depending on how much the title um, is, well, how the title race ends up.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty heated about this decision because I've been swaying back and forth. I think I've come to the conclusion. I think it's not a penalty, but it's a clear denial of a goal scoring opportunity. It should be a free kick and a red card to Livingston, and Rangers should have the advantage in the closing stages of this game. However, I think it's easy to get wrapped up in the decision. We've kind of talked it through there. Let's talk about Rangers and Livingston for a minute. Excellent from Levy. They're showing that fight we discussed. Trying to get back from back from the dead, basically. Dead and buried. And going 2-0 ahead. Obviously, they throw it away, but they were under the cosh the whole game. They were getting absolutely battered by Rangers. I mean, I'm looking at the statistics here. 3.63 expected goals for Rangers, 31 shots, 14 on target. Livingston had an expected goals of zero point 0.3 and they had 5 shots and 3 on target. So, the real backs to the wall performance from Marvin Bartley's side. And it was really, really good from them. And probably maybe just based on the fact they got the 2 goals and the how good Jerome Prior was, a well-deserved point in the end for the Lions. However, Rangers, concerning statistic, Rangers' last 3 away games, they've picked up 3 points from a possible 9, and that is concerning. We spoke about earlier how they still need to go to Parkhead and Tynecastle. They have won at Parkhead, but they've not managed to win at Tynecastle this season. Granted, they've only played there once, but that could be a concern for Rangers, the fact that they have seemed to struggle in these away ties.
Yeah, it certainly could be. That's not a very, I don't know, start that would give you confidence because going to away grounds is sometimes where you need to grind out the results and and get the 3 points. But credit to Rangers for fighting back. I think you possibly could have seen Rangers teams of the past just lie down and accept defeat in this occasion, but they weren't willing to do it. It seemed like it wasn't going to be Rangers' day at all with the amount of chances they created, with the amount Livingston created, scoring 2 goals. So, yeah, big point for Rangers. It's obviously, um, well, it moves them further behind Hearts in terms of the title race, but obviously moves them ahead, further ahead of Celtic, who still have that game in hand, of course. But yeah, I think it was really big that Rangers did get the point instead of losing the match. But as you said, all credit to Livingston and Marvin Bartley. He seems to have sort of gave something for the Livingston players and fans to fight for and be confident about their team. They battled really well in the last 3 games, dealing with a lot of adversity, obviously conceding so many chances and having to be concentrated for so long against Rangers over 100 minutes. Dundee, they went 2-0 down in the first 5 minutes and fought back to get a point. And at Celtic Park, I said it, they were excellent when they played Celtic and really unlucky. Obviously, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain gets that late goal. But absolutely massive game on Saturday. This is a season defining for Livingston, home to St Mirren. They have to beat St Mirren at home. If they don't beat St Mirren at home, they're relegated. If they beat St Mirren at home, I think we really start opening the to the possibility that maybe Livingston are going to claw something back, because if they were to win, they would go 7 points behind St Mirren, who at the moment look like the weakest team in division. So yeah, massive game for Marvin Bartley, and I really like what Marvin Bartley's done at Livingston. I think he speaks really well in sort of press conferences, and I think he's just installed belief in the players. He knows that it's an uphill battle, and the players will know that as well. But they're playing with a sort of freedom that everyone expects them to get relegated, but you never know. You never know. It's been a funny old season, and yeah, they could, but it would be the great escape, as you said. I still fancy them to go down, but they must win on Saturday.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there's no free lunches in the SPFL, as Livingston proved. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. I think this might need to be a regular occurrence now, but I'm just going to look at the fixture list again and I'm going to include the Steelmen this week, because I feel like I'm starting to believe that they're in it now. So Rangers, last games before the split, they have the double header against Celtic. They both at Ibrox. They then are away to St Mirren. They're at home to Aberdeen. They're at home to Dundee United, and are away to Falkirk. So only 2 away games in that period, which could be advantageous for Rangers based on their away form. Celtic, on the other hand, we've spoken about this to death. They've got Stuttgart this week, right off, and then they've got Rangers, and then they've got Aberdeen away from home, and then Rangers again, all away from home. They then host Motherwell, we spoke about earlier, the best team in the league so far. Best team on form at the moment. They then are away to Dundee United, away to Dundee, and are at home to St Mirren. So in these fixtures, almost every single one, except from I think St Mirren and Aberdeen, they've dropped points against these teams this season. So it's definitely a tough run for Celtic. And we're going to look at the Steelmen before we look at the league leaders. So they've got Dundee United at home, Dundee away from home, then they're away to Celtic, at home to Hibs, at home to Falkirk, and then right before the split, it's Hearts versus Motherwell. So that'll be a really, really good game to look forward to. And then, of course, the league leaders, the Jambos, they've got Aberdeen at home, and they are away to Kilmarnock, at home to Dundee, away to Livingston, and then obviously that game against Motherwell. So some tough fixtures in there. I think Celtic, as we settled on, definitely have the toughest run. Maybe Rangers the second toughest run. You could look at, just based on how Rangers are playing and how Motherwell are playing. I'd probably be more confident Motherwell would pick up more points. But yeah, this is really exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think we should try and give our probably very poor attempts at predicting all the games of the weekend, next weekend, just as a bit of fun. We'll predict the midweek rearranged game first. Dundee United host Aberdeen tomorrow night. What's your score prediction for that one?
Now.
Now. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair one. I'm gonna go with a 1-1. I'm gonna go with a score draw. Not much to split the two teams, but I don't think any of them are going to improve their bid for top six. Moving on to the games on Saturday, Dundee host Hibs.
I'm gonna go with a home win for Dundee. I think Hibs will just revert back to their inconsistency. I'm gonna go with 1-0 to the Dark Blues.
Okay, I'm going to go with a 3-2 win for the Hibees. I think they'll build on their win at Celtic Park with another away win, but Dundee will not make it easy for them. Falkirk at home to Kelly.
I'm gonna go, Laurie. I hope you're watching this, mate. I'm gonna go with 3-0 to Kelly.
That's a bold prediction. I'm going to sit on the fence again and go with a 1-1 draw. I think Kilmarnock will get a decent result from the Falkirk Stadium, but they will not win by 3 goals to 0. Hearts at home to Aberdeen.
I'm gonna go with one each.
Okay, I'm going to go with 2-0 to the
Oh,
Jambos.
what was that? What was that oofed for?
Because that's what you hope for. That's not what you actually think the score's going
They
to be.
beat
Right.
Motherwell. They beat Motherwell, and they were in a close game against Dundee. They might have won if they hadn't got the red card.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, Livingston at home to St Mirren.
I'm gonna go with Levy win here. I'm gonna go 2-0 to Levy.
I'm gonna go 1-0 Levy. Big win for Big Marv. I think they will do it and really put pressure on the Saints and Stephen Robinson. Penultimate game of the weekend, the final game on Saturday, Motherwell v Dundee United.
Uh, I'm gonna go 3-0 to Motherwell.
Another clean sheet. Safe bet at the minute. And I am going to go with a clean sheet as well, but I'm going to go 2-0 Motherwell. Um, But yeah, I think that's potential banana skin. And getting on to the big one, Brooks, the first of two derbies. I am going to go. Well, I'll let you go first. As the home side, Rangers v Celtic,
4-1.
4-1.
4-1 to the Teddy Bears. Here we go.
You're giving Celtic a goal. I am going to go with a 2-0 win for Rangers. I think they'll have too much for Celtic. I can't see Celtic scoring a goal, and I think Rangers will possibly take advantage of a very weak Celtic backline and goalkeeper. So that's all for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Go and check us out on the social medias at the TikTok. And the Twitter and the Spotify, although we've not been posting much on all of those fronts at the minute due to university work. But in the next coming months, we should be back to regular uploads. Thank you and goodbye.